Hello, this is Dave Lee, and here's my systems engineering course presentation for the midterm. It's the case study on human language technology, which is called HLT. Let's get started. Let's begin with the background. Artificial intelligence, so-called AI, is pretty familiar topic today. It's one of the most popular technology in our everyday lives. However, it is actually started since long ago. First time it has developed and researched it was actually 1950s. And now it's been developed a lot of different types of such as interactive AI, text AI, functional AI, visual AI, and analytic AI. Next, human language technology is part of the machine which is able to do something related to text and speech, including automatically translating between human languages and so on and so forth. Also, human language technology has an impact on the new technologies because of the increase in computing power with significant performance with cloud services. Well-known topics in human language technology are machine translation, web search engine, speech recognition, so on and so forth. Now let's talk about the market trend in artificial intelligence, especially the human language technology. It's been grew up significantly since the early 2010s. There are some good examples of the companies utilizing the human language technology very well. For example, TripAdvisor is successfully implemented Spanish website based upon the English website and translated it with human language technology. Also, a lot of huge tech companies are operating automatic customer services, and this also includes the human language technology based upon the speech recognition and text translation. Now, uh, let's talk about the limitations of current system. Current system has the cross-language issues. For example, translating English to Spanish, English to French, English to German, and their vice versa is fairly operative. But East Asian languages like Korean, Chinese, and Japanese are still not fluent enough. So, it'll be a great avenue and achievement of growth for this field that is likely to see in the future if we can figure out its limitation and their actual uses problems. Now move on to the next slide. This is the overview of deep learning technology. Deep learning is specific definition involved in machine learning technology, which is based upon a wide variety of neural networks with representation learning. As you can see following the picture, input layers will be made up of the user's input, such as English sentence. Also, the output layer can be a user's output, such as Spanish translation result. According to the chain rule, we are able to implement the multiple layers, which is a hidden layers in this case. The picture above is the picture here is a actually very simplified neural network, and actually truth is far more complicated. Edges can be the parameters and it will be arithmetically computed between the hidden layers. We can provide the variations to the model. For example, we can abbreviate some of the noise calculations so we can reduce the empirical risk by utilizing loss function. Ideally, when it is working perfectly, the perfect translation can be made by the model. So the concept of the deep learning technology is forthcoming book of the machine learning technology and the specific part of that. In addition, the utilization of thousands of neural networks is one of the key roles in deep learning to make translators deeper understanding of the human language. Let's go through the needs analysis. Uh, when Artificial intelligence first developed and introduced, people are not aware of this technology enough. But now it's becoming the essential technology to predict the future or other purposes. It's because of the fast paced globalization. Since we're living in the very fast paced society and we need the same pace of technologies to handle our lives. That is the reason why we came with a smart home system or assistant systems. Alright, and in terms of the expandability, I can't help mentioning about the development of expanding devices and infrastructure. Several sets of device features are offered by the tech companies like Google Home, Amazon Alexa, and so on and so forth. Also, technically is feasible today because of the notable development of internet speed and cloud systems, which can easily be connected to the internet for seamless connectivity and velocity. Artificial intelligence is fairly recent in its development and propagation, but it is potentially one of the most exciting topics in terms of human-computer interaction. Actually, it is most used for smart home systems. The key feature of these devices is its skills to translate the user's speech into the machine language. Once it is successfully translated into the machine language, it is converting it to the human language again after conducting the instruction so that users are able to understand and communicate with the devices. Amazon Alexa and Google Home are the market leaders in this field, and they have continued to push the boundaries of what the realm of possibility is in human language technology. Let's move on to the next slide. Concept exploration. In this slide, I'll talk about the overall process for the language translation with the example, which is a Google Translate service. Since 2015, Google Translate has been completely changed to neural machine translation from statistical machine translation. Previous process is kind of like replacement of the words that is quite a bit probable after analyzing words by words and their sentences. So in the sentence, existing machine replaces the words from the database with the corresponding words. But but neural machine translation is different from these things. It is the approach to machine translation in which a large neural network is trained to maximize translation performance. In this process, these are several processes that we need to focus on for the system engineering perspective. In the next slide, I'll explain about the roles for each neural network and deep learning training with the understandable figure. As you can see, this one is the original sentence that should be translated, and then these are the process, and it's the result for human language. Um, this neural network has the ability to translate from red cycles, which are assembly sentences, to green circles, which are translated assembly sentences. Each blue circle in the figure above decides its number and weights according to the proper strategies or principles after receiving the values from the red circles. Similarly, each green circle determines the numbers by getting the numbers from the blue circles. In this example, gray edges can be the proper strategies or principles, which is called parameters. Once the parameter values are good enough to calculate and reduce the empirical risk, both sides of the sentences will be the perfect translation. This is the explanation of deep learning training. Next, we'll talk about the concept definition. In terms of the operational performance and compatibility, The operational performance is mentioned in the previous phases for the example of Google Translate service. And the efficacy will be demonstrated once the parameters are clearly defined as the neural network is keep on training itself. Also, the Translate service is based on the web platform, which means that it can be compatible with any types of the electronic devices, including mobile, PC, or tablets. This can be the high compatibility. The program cost will be fairly expensive because of the training process. The cost varies depending upon how many servers will be used or how many networks to run in the cloud systems, such as AWS. Program schedule shouldn't be an issue today due to the increase of the processing power as well as the usage of the well-organized facilities for the cloud systems. Next, challenges. Let's talk about the challenges in this slide. We can think about two biggest challenges in this area. First is data privacy. Privacy. It is necessary for consumers to be well informed and educated well on the matter of data privacy and security. This will lead the consumers making more well-informed decisions on how much access should be provided to applications. In addition to that, by being knowledgeable about this topic continuously, users are able to lobby for stricter laws on what kind of data can be collected and shared by all the major companies. So the customers always should be careful and educated themselves. Another challenge is the deeper comprehension. Deeper understanding for the human language technology is required and should be improved. In order to support a specific language translation service, it requires massive data from online. However, the countries that are not developed well enough in terms of technology are unable to collect the data if the translation needed. Similarly, in order to collect massive data, other factors are also important, such as facilities and equipments that can be operated, acquire data, and its maintenance. Depending upon the characteristics of the language, translation service currently varies over the languages. Typically, the list of the considerations include the sentence order, gender bias in translation. Next is the future scope. This is the last slide, and we can think about the future scope with this technology. Recently, Google has released a new model, which is called Electra, that is way more effective and has better performance than previous NLU model. There are a wide number of opportunities and applications of deep learning models that may be developed in the future. It is impossible to predict with a complete certainty the exact features that will be rolled out in the future. But because of the rapid pace of the model's innovation, we are likely to see many more new features that are useful, such as real-time translation robot, and it'll be exciting for the globalization. Thank you so much for watching this video.